All right, so we got to travel some well-worn ground here for a minute because it's good framing for what's coming up because, God, it's another one of those important things that isn't going to affect the election, but at the same time, it's setting more precedent because what happened before ain't going to be happening again because, well, the precedent's being laid. We're going to, like I said, go over some very well-worn ground here. We got to invoke, once again, the name of Act 77 in Pennsylvania. Now, Mike Kelly was the lead plaintiff in this lawsuit. It was filed against Secretary of State in Pennsylvania, Kathy Boockvar. It was about, the mail-in ballots and how they were allowed to be cured, how they were allowed to be received up to like a week after election day, and the fact that it wasn't constitutionally passed. It wasn't passed in the legislature in a manner in which would allow it to be a constitutional amendment because it would have had to go through 2 successful votes in the House. It would have had to have been properly advertised in 2 newspapers. If I'm getting all this stuff right, we're going to go ahead and cover it again because she really fucked up. Yes, 2 newspapers around the state, and then have a referendum to vote on it by the public in order for it to become a constitutional amendment. That's the policy. That wasn't followed when it came to Act 77, which the governor, Tom Wolf, just threw in, foregoing the second hearing, the advertisement of it, and it's clearly a fuck up. But now they're going to be voting on the referendum for this by using mail-in ballots that are currently not constitutional in order to pass this, in order to get through the last step. It's very complicated. But that's good background because this bitch really, really fucked up. And this is, I think, the first time I've actually seen a picture of her, and she looks exactly like how I would picture her. State agency bungles ballot referendum for child sex victims. Here's the background on this. Unfortunately, there was a big problem with the Catholic Church in Pennsylvania a few years ago now, about 5 or so years. It probably goes through it in the article here, but I'll just let you know what we got. And some of those kids have been very long time pursuers in getting justice against the priests that may or may not have gave them a little bit more of a handshake if we're just going to keep this a little bit above board, which kind of got to in this point. So they wanted to change the statute of limitation laws, and it would have had to gone through that exact same process that Act 77 would have had to, because it would have had to been in a constitutional amendment. Long and short of this is Kelly Boockvar forgot to put this to referendum in the 2020 election. She just forgot. She fucked up. But let's get through more of the specifics here. Some victims of child sexual abuse might have to wait 2 more years to pursue legal claims because of a major bureaucratic bungle that prompted angry denunciations across the political spectrum Monday, and she's out of there. Pennsylvania's top state election official. A proposed state constitution amendment allowing lawsuits over decades-old claims prompted by investigation into child sexual abuse allegations inside Pennsylvania's Roman Catholic diocese. This was like, a few thousand kids came forward with stories about this. That was a long time ago. That caused the previous pope, not Pope John II, the demon-looking Hitler Youth guy, he had to roll away from his pontiff. And then that led to this social justice dude who's currently, I forget his proper term or his proper title. Is it Francis? I think it is. But yeah, that was that entire debacle. And I guess it was longer than I thought it was. I thought it was only like a handful of years ago. But I thought we really passed all of these diddling priests. Wasn't advertised as required and so cannot appear on the ballot this spring. The Wolf administration disclosed Monday. Oh, okay, so instead of it not being on the ballot, it was not allowed to be on the ballot because it was not properly advertised by Julia Roberts' Downs-afflicted stunt double. Pennsylvania Department of State called it a simple human error. Oh, really? And apologized, saying the mistake was discovered late last week. As a result, no statewide referendum to add it to the state constitution may be possible before 2023. Because guess what? It has to go through everything again before it becomes constitutionally viable. Weird, huh? Secretary of State Kathy Boockvar? I've heard it pronounced Boockvar. We'll go with that because she does look awfully chickeny, is leaving her job Friday, and both the state inspector general and the legislature will look into the matter. They already hate her, so this bitch is gonna get quite the thorough cleaning, as it were. The delay caused by this human error will be heartbreaking for thousands of survivors of childhood sexual assault advocates and legislatures. And I join the Department of State in apologizing to you. Democratic Governor Tom Wolf probably said through 3, 4, 5 masks. Or he probably wasn't wearing them. He's probably making everybody in the press corps wear them. Total doofus. I share your anger and frustration that this happened, and I stand with you in your fight for justice. The admission followed years of battle in the legislature. Well, why don't you just go ahead and Act 77 this shit? So to just skip ahead a little bit, we'll have to look into our options, said Senate President pro tempore Jake Cornyn from... He's a Republican because the Republicans own both the House and the Senate in Pennsylvania. We went through that when we were looking through all of the election irregularities. Just about pulled a Schumer there for a second. Clearly, there is a sensitivity to this, that everyone wants to help victims get justice, but unfortunately the incompetence of the Department of State and Secretary thereof to put them in this position is just unconscionable. Ooh, strong words there, Jake. Constitutional amendments must pass both chambers in 2 successive 2-year legislative sessions before going before voters in a statewide referendum for final approval. It had been on track to appear on May 18th's primary ballot. And that's the big thing, okay? So this bitch, Kathy Boockvar, is getting lit up for not going through the proper channels in order to put forth a constitutional amendment and make it so. Okay, like this or not, expanding the statute of limitations can be expanded for certain cases. I don't know, probably has much more detrimental effects that we're not really thinking about at the time because due to this Me Too culture that's going on right now. And right now, fucking Marilyn Manson's having to deal with it, which I couldn't imagine anybody would willingly fuck him. And I already just call bullshit on anybody who's waiting fucking decades to make some kind of statement against them. But the reason laws and amendments like this pass is because it's a situation such as this. It's like, okay, a bunch of diddly priests decide that they're going to go after altar boys. And yeah, you need to kind of figure out how you can properly reconcile the crimes when these kids were underage and now they're becoming of age. And then that makes it an entire situation. So you have to figure out how to pass that. But then how do you prove the crime happened? And you can see everything that's going on there. I'm sure Pennsylvania's thought it through, and there is laid out method for which you pass constitutional amendments. Now, I said before that this is very important to point out because Act 77 was not passed. It did not go through these proper steps in order to become a constitutional amendment. So, just like we seen yesterday in Virginia, there is a bunch of precedent that's being laid down right now. Ballots are being ruled unconstitutional, not affecting anything right now, but it's going to have a long-reaching effect that's going to take somebody pointing this stuff out. Then the proper channels need to be followed. If the proper people start soon, you're going to avoid the goat fuck that just happening again in 2024. And because Pennsylvania has a very Republican House and very Republican Senate, it's likely that things like this will not happen again. And because Kelly Boockvar, who was very steadfast in saying that there was no evidence of widespread voter fraud in the previous election, and everything was above board, and it looks like there's probably going to be some legislation coming down very, very shortly. And I'm very happy about that because they can just cite this right here. Listen, okay, everybody who was in charge of the last election really fucked up and didn't do their job right. Okay, a bunch of preteen choir boys had their poopers pummeled. And they can't get restitution for another 3 years because the Wicked Witch of Lancaster didn't get her shit in order. So they're going to be awfully sympathetic to right any of these wrongs. And I look forward to the Democrats having to live up to their current standard of don't let a crisis go to waste. All you need is some Republicans to hop on board and follow the same position that Jake Cornyn there has, calling her actions unconscionable. That's a good start. Strong word. $5 word you got there. Just follow up on it, pal. Thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.